And what's good? What's good? What's good? Thanks, fam. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 197 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is an exciting episode, Cleveland. We got a whole lot to talk about, man. We got NBA to talk about, NBA free agency. We got some NFL conversations, Cleveland. I want to know what Drew Lock has been up to, what the competition like is in the quarterback position. Have you guys talked to Baker Mayfield? I mean, these are some of the questions I'm gonna ask you. Have you guys talked to Baker Mayfield? What's the deal there?
Pete and John have been very close to the vest with regards to the Baker Mayfield
Okay.
chitter chatter. So I'm sorry I don't have more of a an update for you.
Oh, that's all you got. That's all you
That's all
want
I
to share.
got.
What's the quarterback competition look like? Is it Drew Lock? Is it what's the other guy from West Virginia? I mean, what's this? It's kind of shaky grounds. It sounds like.
Right now it's Geno Smith. He's a starter.
Oh,
So we'll
yes,
see
that
what
that guy,
happens.
Gino.
During training camp. And
Gino running
again,
with the ones.
I
Huh?
see you're very enthusiastic about that decision.
Man, I mean, we're going to get into some NFL topics. Like I said, we got a lot of things to talk about. I just wanted to touch on that. We're going to talk about even some Major League Baseball again. We're going to get into today.
Oh, wow.
Um, we college football action. College football dropped a bombshell on us this afternoon. I'm
It
not
did.
sure if you're familiar with this, and we'll kind of see how things, uh, how the Northwest is feeling about this shakeup in college football and what this means for the Pac. I mean, what is the Pac-12? Is it might be the Pac
It's
back
12.
down to the
It's 12.
Pac-12
It's
or
12 at present, and we'll see how it goes after that.
yeah, I mean, we'll see. So we got a lot of, of course, we're going to talk about Brittany Griner in kind of that situation, just to let the people know where to go to kind of put your vote in. And so, Cleveland, let's get started in the show, man. There's a lot to unpack here, and with it, we always do our numbers, Cleveland. June 30th, 2022, man. The year is just blazing by, Cleveland. Um, in week 197 of the Voice of the Fans podcast, Cleveland. When you think of the number 30, Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
who are the number best? Or who comes to your mind first? And if
You
if
know,
I may, if I may, I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna answer
sure.
this question. When
Go
I
right
think
ahead.
of the number 30, no, I think of the guy who lined up behind John Elway and actually capped off John Elway's career with 2,000 yards after gaining 1,800 yards and lead this team to back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Cleveland, you know how tough it is to win back-to-back Super Bowl
It's
champions?
hard.
It's tough to win one, but this guy led the team to two back-to-back champions, and that would be championships, and that would be none other than Terrell Davis, who had a message for you. Do you remember the message he had for you when you called him assistant quarterback?
Cam, it wasn't directly
You called him
towards
assistant
me
quarterback, and it went to
because you
all those.
misconstrued what the message really actually was. But yeah, I do recall you asking a very pointed question and him flaring up like a 4th of July you know
Yeah, Cleveland.
explosion.
You don't want to meet. You don't want to meet Mr. Terrell Davis. I'll put it like that. You don't want him, and then call him after you called him assistant quarterback. He had nothing for you, but he is my guy that I think about when I think of the number 30, and he probably wore that best. I mean, Bernard King, David Meggett. Yeah, I say he wore better than both of those guys. Who would you say number 30?
Well, I mean, when it comes to mind first, because of all the back and forth and controversy that we have had over the years, it would certainly have to be Terrell Davis comes to mind first. Who wore it best is Steph Curry, and he put an extra emphatic stamp on that, you know, last week. So
Steph Curry. I mean, that's kind of tough. That's kind of tough. But like we already we know the NFL is a much tougher game than the NBA. Now, come on now, leading your team to back to back.
those 4 years were sensational, Cam. Those 4 years were sensational.
See, there he goes. I'm gonna send this to Terrell, and he's not gonna appreciate these
I
comments.
know.
He's not
I
gonna
know you
appreciate it.
will. I know you will because that's your guy.
And again, with the being week 197, man, 197 shows we have done, Cleveland. Joey Bosa would be my pick for number 97. Who comes to my mind first? Who comes to your mind first?
Would have to agree with that. The Bosa kid is, wreaking havoc over there in San Francisco. You weren't talking about the Chargers one, were you?
I said Joey. I didn't say Nick.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, I was talking about the one in Frisco in the Yay area. That's wreaking havoc. I wasn't talking about the other one. So.
Oh, the other one that abuses your
the other one hasn't gotten his team to a playoff just yet. So
they were in the playoffs 2018.
Were they?
They played the.
Oh wow, they didn't. Oh, but I'm so sorry. Last year they didn't make the playoffs.
Baltimore Ravens.
So last year they didn't make the playoffs. So sorry.
Last year they didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, yes. We understand that, Cleveland. You made that. Your point has been clear for months now. Man, like I said, we got a lot of things to talk about. But first, I mean, what is Seattle talking about? Or what's the tone in the city when the NBA announces that they're going to have a preseason game there? Talk to us about the tone in the city right now.
Oh man, euphoria! I mean, everybody's really, super incredibly happy about having an opportunity to see NBA talent, front and center. So that's great. We're all super enthusiastic and excited.
I mean, are the fans going to go to this?
Oh, for sure.
Our fans will go to the scene because when I was the last Sonics game I went to, I don't know about you, but the last Sonics game I went to, Kevin Durant was a rookie. They played the New Orleans, I guess, Hornets. Chris Paul was on the team, so I guess it was the New Orleans Hornets. And you could have walked up at game time and bought a ticket, because the arena was empty. So do you plan on going to any games this season, or not this season? Like I said, when the Seahawks play or the Sonics play. Excuse me.
It's a much different environment. I see kind of where you're trying to go with this.
What do you mean where I'm trying to go? There was nobody in the arena. There was nobody in the arena in 2008.
Yeah, does not have an NBA basketball
Kevin Durant
team.
was a
last
rookie.
time you went to a game.
Nobody was in
ago,
nobody was.
And everybody knew that the Sonics were
was empty.
So if your question is, am I going to go to the game? Yeah, I'm going to go to the game.
The Coliseum was empty. I'll put it like that.
It sure was.
The Coliseum was empty. We sat right behind the goalpost.
You probably sat right behind Howard Schultz. You probably sat right behind him.
Well, I might have
stroking his, stroking his hair.
I wasn't stroking his hair. I wasn't stroking his hair. That's for sure. I would have had a few words for Mr. Howard Schultz, and he made him explain how the Starbucks originating in Seattle cannot. They sell Seattle Sea.
Okay, I'm not going to get into all that with you, Cam. I'm just going to say,
that to me? Do you have? Well, first of all, I mean, help me out.
I'm not going to get into all this with you, Cam.
I don't understand. Can you explain that to the people? I don't understand. Can you explain that to the people? Why Howard Schultz and his
on? I'm saying Seattle, I'm not going to get into this with you.
No.
All that I'm saying is, yes, I would go to the game. Portland versus the Clippers, a preseason game. Yeah, I'm going to go.
Here it is right here, October 3rd. Climate Pledge Arena, October 3rd. I'll be in the house. I'm doing everything I can be.
Good for you. Hey, man. Yeah, show up, man.
Oh, what's you being salty? But no, let the people know why would Howard Schultz.
Man, I'm not going to get into all that. I'm not.
You can't explain that to me.
All that.
You don't want to explain that to the people.
Why Seattle has not had a professional NBA basketball team?
No. Why they haven't had a team? That's not what I'm asking you, Cleveland. I'm asking why did Howard Schultz sell the team? Why did the Starbucks owner of Starbucks
going to get into
feel the need to it
with you on this show?
Why? I mean, are you in danger or something?
It needs to be a separate. It needs to be a separate episode that encompasses all of the things that happened. Can't just be like 2 minutes. Like, oh, this is what happened. No. It's far too in depth.
All right. Well, you're gonna have to call. We're gonna have to. The fans want an episode of what happened to the Sonics. Then
Okay,
we're gonna have to get the guy from Sonics Gate on the show and everything. What happened to
I'm
the
down.
Sonics?
I'm down here.
But right now, October 3rd, the Clippers is going to Seattle to play the Portland Trailblazers. Ooh, Kawhi, PG. We might well
We,
get
we
into
don't
it.
know if either one of those guys is going to be healthy or be
What do you
there.
mean?
So hey
Stop it.
man,
Kawhi ain't played in 2 years at
to,
that point.
you need to slow down until they clear protocol to even be
Oh,
at that game.
oh, stop it. And then the new acquisition, John Wall.
Hey, we don't know anything about all that.
In his
Man.
career,
We'll just have to
9.1
see.
assists. Okay,
Yeah.
well, you know the Clippers signed John Wall. So what does John Wall bring to the Clippers?
Oh, I mean, if he's healthy, is that your question?
Yeah.
Oh, explosiveness, man. I mean, he's just a straight line to the basket, man. And I'm assuming in the 3 years that he's, not been playing professional basketball, on a consistent basis, that he's probably improved his jumper a little bit. So, we'll
How
see
do you
we'll see what happens there.
You think he improved his jumper by not playing?
No, what I'm saying in the 3 years that he didn't play in the National Basketball Association, according to his contract, that he probably worked on his jumper a little bit. It's probably better than it was before. That's all I was saying.
So you think that's a good pickup for the Clippers? Let me hear
Great
you say it.
pickup. I mean, if he gets anything, near his, potential, yeah.
And so where then did this put the Clippers? As we're going into summer league, the offseason, where did this put the Clippers as in the pantheon of the top of the Western Conference?
Oh, well, it all depends on the health of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And we have no reason to think they're going to be healthy. So we're not, going to put them too high.
Oh, what? So you have no faith in Kawhi and PG, who's been resting now? Kawhi, PG went out.
No faith.
He went out in May. We haven't seen Kawhi all
faith.
season.
Was your question? Do I have any faith in the health of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George? Yeah, no faith.
So you could potentially be
overlooking. And don't show this to Mr. Ballmer because I don't want him to get all upset about this. I'm just saying, health wise.
Say what you're saying. Say what you're saying. You don't have no faith in his acquisition.
I'll say what I'm saying. I'm just saying don't show this to Mr. Ballmer. That's all I'm saying.
Why not? Oh, you're not really that confident in what you're saying then.
I am confident that they haven't been healthy for quite some time, and there's no reason to believe they're going to be healthy next season. But what I'm saying is just don't tell Steve Ballmer about that.
Okay.
10th richest man on planet Earth. I don't need that kind of smoke.
So John Wall. So you have them, if I understand you correctly, you have them in the top 3 in the Western Conference next season.
No, I said 7, 8. They'll be scrambling trying to make it happen.
7 or 8. You said 7 or 8. You have Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Norman Powell, John Wall, Terrence Mann, Visa Zubac, who they just re-signed, Isaiah Hartenstein. Mm-hmm. You have these guys finishing 7 or 8? What you got on that, Cleveland?
Oh, it's too early to tell, Cam. I mean, we have to see how training camp kind of unfolds. I mean, I think that you're predicting that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are going to be healthy and participating for, obviously a good majority of the 82-game season. We haven't seen that ever.
No, they'll be ready to go. It's time to cash in. It's time to cash in.
You're more insightful than the rest of us are because you're plugged into that. So maybe some insider information we don't. I'm just saying from what we've seen, no reason to believe that they're going to be on the court.
Oh no, they have something to prove. I would suspect.
Okay. You would suspect. Oh, okay. I thought you knew a little bit more than that. So
it's time to show. It's time to show, buddy. It's time to show. So let's go. Cleveland. Kyrie opts in with the Nets. I mean, what are we doing? It's kind of so. Then the next Kyrie opts in on what, Tuesday. KD asked for a trade on Thursday. I know so they're all kind of, let's talk about since they kind of work with each other, they kind of mesh each other. Let's talk about them both at the same time. Do the Nets run with Kyrie and Simmons, or do they let him go and make a trade for somebody else? What do you think?
It's too early to tell, Cam. I mean, I think with KD saying he wants out, I mean, I think the best for the organization would be for them to trade both of them. See what Ben has left in the bank.
So you want a package deal? You want to send him in? Do you have a trade in mind? Let's see what you're thinking about.
No. They go opposite places because as we've all kind of analyzed the situation, Kyrie opting in means that it's a real short deal and he can leave next year, go wherever he wants, free. KD didn't like that. KD was assuming he was going to opt out, and then you sign Kyrie for 4, and then we have some type of foundation. But with no foundation and him opting into the last year of that deal, just means, okay, well, you're not committed to this long term. So then why would I be committed to this long term? That was kind of what I was trying to do from the onset, and just hasn't worked out for KD. So
it hasn't worked out.
And the trade request isn't going to work out either, Cam. Let me continue to stand on my soapbox. The trade request is not going to work out either because you're trying to trade for one of the 15 greatest players that's ever picked up a basketball, and you want a lot of assets back in return. And most teams, really, honestly, by the time you give up all the assets to get Kevin Durant, that's not going to be a very good team. They talk about Miami, but if you don't start with Jimmy and Bam, I mean, what are we talking about?
So
7 first round picks, and try to throw Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero in the deal.
Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero,
Victor Oladipo, like no.
Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Victor Oladipo.
You have to start the conversation with Bam and Jimmy and.
I mean, come on, you don't want.
If you don't want to do that, then why are we talking? I mean, that's one of his major destinations, right?
They can't.
You want to talk to Phoenix? It's like if you're not talking Devin and DeAndre, I mean, what are we talking about?
They can get Adrian. They can get Ayton and Bridges.
Oh, see, yeah. Now
you're
talking like Phoenix. Yeah, we'll give you Bridges and Campaign and Cameron Johnson.
Man, come on.
Yeah, I mean,
so
anything but Devin and Chris Paul. It's like,
so what he gonna say? Let me out my deal. Let me go to Memphis. I mean,
go to Memphis for what? To do what?
Desmond Baines and Clark and.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, right. You're talking from the Brooklyn perspective, right? I'm sorry, from the Memphis perspective. So we'll give you Jared Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bain, 3 first rounders.
I mean, what?
Steven Adams.
So he's stuck in Brooklyn. Is that what you saying?
Stuck in Brooklyn, but
what's gonna happen?
I mean,
all right. So
the only team that really has the assets that they would want back in return is Utah, and he's not going to Utah for Gobert and Donovan. He's not, and Kawhi, I believe, has no trade, so you can't trade for Kawhi and Paul George like you would like.
I mean, if you were PG, if you were the Clippers, would you do PG and who?
Oh, you do PG and Kawhi for KD any day of the week.
No.
You're
not getting PG and Kawhi. I mean, you get PG.
Oh wow, because they've shown so much.
I mean, you're not gonna give me. You're not gonna get no.
I've even heard talks of Toronto, like Toronto has zero to offer you for
No, they got.
Kevin
What do you mean?
Durant
Pascal Siakam and something.
and
Pascal's a good.
something.
Yeah, some. I mean, Michelle got
See,
some.
you're talking like, see, this is the problem. This is the problem, Cam.
Kevin Durant going into
You're
16th
talking
year.
like
He's
the
going in year
team that
16.
doesn't
He's going
want
in
to
year 16.
trade for one of the 15 greatest players in the history of the NBA.
I'm trying to say.
You got to give up something, my dude.
I mean, you're not getting Booker. You're not getting
When
Booker.
Miami went and got Shaq, I mean, at least they were like, man, I'll give you the Holy Quran. I'll give you Lamar Odom. I'll give you, 3 picks. I mean, you got to give up something, man. And nobody wants to give up anything.
So okay, so you sound like you got him staying in Brooklyn.
The best
What do you
place
do?
for him to
What do
go,
you
honestly, I've been thinking about this all day since I heard, is Denver. But
Denver.
you got to give up Michael Porter Jr.
Oh yeah,
and
you're
Jamal
out of here.
Murray and some picks.
And Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
But
You want Kevin Durant
those
in
are both
return,
injured
right?
dudes, though. Like I'd do that, I would do that. I'd hesitate. I wouldn't do it in a minute. I'd probably do that in 3 or 4 minutes because both of those guys, we don't know what Jamal Murray has been because he hasn't been on the court since his knee injury, and Michael Porter Jr. has he played a full season in the last 3 years?
Ever. He's never
So
played a full season ever.
So if I'm Brooklyn, I say,
since his senior
and I can get a couple first picks with that one. Like, I think
I've heard Zion talk. It's like,
well, I mean,
that's not a straight up trade.
Him and Zion.
This is a 4-time scoring champion, a MVP in the league, a 2-time NBA Finals MVP. Do not start with just a bunch of guys and picks.
Cleveland. I know who Kevin Durant is. He's also going in his 16th year.
And plus, KD's got to sign off on it.
Yeah. Do you understand? KD is going into year 16 though. That it was his year. Well, is it 16 or 14? 2008.
14.
2008. Yeah. So you understand? So that's he's not.
Do you understand
he's not 2010.
That Kevin Durant.
This is not 2011.
It was last season. He averaged 29.3 points a game.
Right. I'm just telling you that was last year. He was hurt
half the season. So what are you talking about?
You're not again.
He's still one of the top 5 players in the National Basketball Association. So don't go trying to empty your bench to give to me if you want one of the top 5 players in the National Basketball Association.
So you have him staying. So it sounds like, okay, Cleveland has him staying in Brooklyn. What are you doing? Are you packaged? You're a Laker fan, so do you want to give him a Westbrook and AD? Would you do Westbrook and AD for?
Oh no, we're not trading for KD. No.
Oh, you said like he didn't cross your mind. You said that like it never crossed your mind.
It didn't.
You never thought
Kyrie
a way to kind of make.
Once Kyrie opted in, this is last season in Brooklyn. So, and Russell Westbrook opted in for his $47 million. So guess what? It's your last season in Los Angeles.
So you wouldn't do KD and Kyrie for Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. You wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I would do that. Is Brooklyn going to do that for Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook?
I mean, Westbrook is coming off the books next year, so they don't.
If they're down, that sounds horrible. On the Brooklyn side,
why? Yeah. They're getting rid of a headache. They've been, how much stress they've been under. Now they just have to worry about can Anthony Davis stay healthy? Can he pass a physical? That's the only thing about that deal. But I wouldn't want to see that happen though. KD and LeBron and fucking Kyrie Irving, that would be scary.
Yeah, that would be, wouldn't it?
That would be scary. Um, with the Suns, Mavericks, I think the Mavericks would be a good move.
Wouldn't it though? What you
think
gonna
that-
trade for Kevin Durant from the Mavericks? Is that the Tim Hardaway Jr., Finney Smith,
Mike Maxi Kleber?
Cleaver package? 4 first rounders starting in 2027? No.
4 first
Kick
rounders.
rocks. Kick rocks. You
So you got him
conversation has to start with Luka. If you don't want to trade Luka, then why are you talking to me?
Because you know you can't get
Because I really want Kevin Durant. If he was with Luka, it would be cool.
You know, Luka. You know you can't. You got to do right by Luka. You got to put Luka. You got to put Luka with a star.
If you want Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic is coming back the other direction. And you don't want to do that, so why are we talking? I don't want to hear about. You don't even have Jalen Brunson anymore. I don't want to hear about all your little corny little pieces, man. No. How about I save you some time? No. That's what this whole thing's about, man.
So where does Kyrie
one
going?
of the top 5 players in the league, it shakes up the whole league, and nobody can really do it, and nobody.
So where does Kyrie go? So where does Kyrie go if he don't stay in Brooklyn? Because they're both not staying in Brooklyn.
I know Kyrie's in Brooklyn next year. The question is the year after, and that's Los Angeles. Depending on what the Lakers do, but if they don't do anything significant, it'll be Los Angeles next year. We'll be making Uncle Drew 2 Part 2. Yeah. In between games and stuff, and it'll be a hit, blockbuster.
So him and LeBron
gonna be in it. It'll be great.
LeBron's gonna be in Uncle Drew Part 2.
Yeah.
So that must be Sugar Hill is gonna produce it.
Quite possibly. I mean, just run it back. I think Reggie Miller, will be on board. It'll be great.
All right, so that's interesting. So you got Brooklyn. Never mind everything that happened today or happened the last couple of days. You got Brooklyn coming back and running it back, doing it again next year.
I mean, it depends on if Kevin Durant is going to, dig his, heels in the sand and just not come to training camp until you trade me, or not be a part of the team until you trade me. Well, that's totally different. But if that's not the case, then yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do here? You gonna trade him for Giannis?
There's come on, man.
You gonna trade him for Embiid? I mean, what is the value of Kevin Durant?
You're not going to get the value, obviously.
Okay, so you're not going to get the value.
Right. So you got to take
But you're not taking 10 cents on the dollar, man. You're not trading me all of your cornball-ass dudes.
He's going to be there. He's going to be there.
5 picks. No.
He's going to be there again. Okay, we'll see.
Like I said, when they traded for Shaq, at least they got the Holy Quran and
the crazy thing is DeJounte Murray and the Spurs got all but the Holy Quran from the Hawks. 3 picks, Danilo Gallinari, and a pick swap from the Hawks to get DeJounte Murray. Do you like that fit?
I do like it. I mean, somebody has got to pick up the slack with regards to what Trae Young is having to provide every night, and DeJounte Murray certainly fits that bill. So
somebody got to pick up the slack. So somebody got to pick up his mistakes. You meant to say?
No, what I'm saying is, if you want him to go for 30 points a game, and he's like 6 feet tall and 165 pounds, soaking wet, yeah, it would be helpful if he had someone else that could kind of, take the load off here and there.
Yeah, I got you.
DeJounte Murray, being an all-star point guard in the Western Conference, certainly fits that bill. He's 206, by the way, Rainier Beach native.
Oh, yeah.
University of Washington. You probably didn't know that.
Did he go to UW? Did he go to the UW?
Did he?
Yeah, did he?
Did he?
I don't know. I
Okay.
didn't think so. I didn't
Okay.
know.
Because you don't know. That's why you when you put your 206 card in the thing, it just keeps spitting it back out at you. Yeah, he went to the
Oh,
University of Washington.
no, stop it. Stop it. Um, I don't know. You like that with Trey, huh? I don't. He's
Yeah.
gonna protect Trey. He's gonna protect Trey, obviously, but I mean, I wasn't so high on that one initially. I know, shit. I know the Clippers from the Clippers perspective. I'd rather have Dejounte Murray on the Clippers than John Wall. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, well for sure. Yeah, Dejounte Murray is an all-star and he's much younger and is not proven to be super injury prone like John Wall. But I have seen a lot of John Wall's extravagant fish tanks on cable
So
recently.
have you?
Yeah,
Interesting.
they're
Uh,
pretty massive.
Do that play into how that play into his game in the NBA? That's what he's been up to the
Oh
last
well, I mean, he didn't really
few months.
comment on like when he was going to be back or anything, or be a contributor to the National Basketball Association again. But the fish tanks in and of themselves were massive and quite beautiful, if you will.
Massive and beautiful, he says. Yeah, but I mean, this is what he was out building aquariums when he was out for the last 3 years.
Yeah,
This is a
yeah, yeah. This
thing
is
he
an
picked up.
example of what he was doing
Yeah,
with the billionaire's money
yeah.
that he was accumulating,
Okay, all right.
fish tanks and whatnot.
Talking about accumulating money, Bradley Beal signed for 251 with the Washington Wizards. My question for you is: will they ever win back-to-back playoff? Will they ever have back-to-back playoff appearances with Bradley Beal leading the
No,
way? That was a wasted. We have to assign kind of a label to these signees. If you
no. I
don't
mean,
give,
it's an opportunity for them to try and go out and get other free agents to kind of
how they
join
gonna get other free
The
agents that
Bradley
they
Beal
include?
bandwagon, but you know,
Jalen Brunson signing with the Knicks. He just signed for the Knicks. What 25 or excuse me 4 years for 104 I think it was. So it's like 26 mil a year. Um, does he lead the Knicks to back-to-back playoff appearances?
no,
Not even the Eastern Conference.
no.
Interesting. No, so you don't have no faith in uh, the little point guard Brunson, huh?
No.
Shame on you. Your Lakers, they saw sign Lonnie Walker the fourth out of Miami, high flyer, 3-and-D guy. What you think about that move?
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
Nothing. It was a move that you do just to kind of because you're already in the game and you're just kind of doing things and oh well, see what we can do with this, but nothing. Yeah, that's not going to move the needle. Laker
Lonnie
Nation.
Walker. I mean, I don't think. Some people seem to think he's better than who did you have last year that you're not going to Malik. Um, who's the guy you have? You're not going to be able to re-sign him because he had a good
Malik
year.
Monk, yeah. I mean,
Malik Monk.
he had some big jumpers, and he's got greener pastures other places. That's great.
Yeah, I don't know that
You
he'll be
don't
better.
judge Lakers' success or failure by moves like Lonnie Walker. That's not what's going on here.
You
Man.
know,
And you know better.
because they're
You
going to
know
stink
better than
either way.
that.
Because
To
they're going
try
to
and
stink.
compare,
They're
to
going to
try
stink
and make
either
that
way.
sound like that's a thing.
Because they're going to stink either way, huh? Man, so we haven't talked since the last draft, man. Since Paulo went number one.
Oh, you got his name right now. Good for you. Been studying?
Since he went number one in the
Not
draft.
Pablo no more. I see.
What do you have? He's down there now with Suggs. What do you think about this combination with him and Suggs?
Oh man, I'm hoping it's not too much pressure on him. I know that he embraces the moment from everything that we've heard and seen, and so I hope that he's able to do what he can. Um, you know, I've heard that the Orlando Magic's basically said that he was the most pro ready player in the draft, which is great. Um, I don't think it makes the Orlando Magic a playoff team per se, but Orlando Magic is not a bad place, as a destination. So, maybe they get some free agents in the future and are able to do some things. And we'll see what Markel Fultz. Maybe he's a little bit healthier than
Oh
he's been in
yeah,
the past
yeah,
couple of seasons,
yeah.
and that would make them tremendously better.
But are you going to put the ball in Banchero's hands?
As much as you can. I mean, who else is down there?
So I mean, Marco Fultz is going to be more of a two guard. Then he was not going to be handling the ball, correct? In your vision.
I have no vision for the Orlando Magic. I'm just saying they have some pieces there. Markel Fultz, I'm not sure if he's even going to be healthy. Suggs, is he a deer in the headlights? We're not sure. Paulo's coming out of, University of Duke, has been, groomed for this position his entire life. So here we are. We'll see what happens.
So who's going to have the better now that we know where all these guys are going to go? Paulo is going to obviously Orlando. Chet Holmgren is going to get drafted, or he did get drafted by OKC. And now they have the Slim Towers in OKC. I thought that name was kind of was funny. The Slim Towers, and then you have Jabari Smith going third to
Houston.
To Houston. Who's going to have the better career in your opinion?
Career, that's hard. That's hard to predict. Who's going to have the better rookie season is going to be Jabari.
In Houston, you think he's going to get all the shots? He going to get up enough shots to be rookie of the year?
I think the chip on his shoulder for not being number one like he was supposed to. I think the opportunity to work with young Silas and Green and Porter, I think he's going to be okay.
I don't know if he's going to be the best of the bunch, but he's going to be in a good situation. I think Houston has more talent than people suspect and people understand. So
who was your pick for rookie of the year? Since you were like putting me on the spot a tad bit.
I gotta see these guys in summer league. I tell you that.
Oh, okay. So you want to yes, I like that. That's the young Sam Rousey mentality. You gotta kind of see what you're dealing with and make a decision. That's on the spot. I like that, Cam.
I gotta see these guys.
Yeah, Cam is learning on the fly, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen to this guy.
Voice of the fans. Cam is learning. Like, man, it's a little early to prognosticate that. I like that.
So I want to get some true prognostications from young Sam, as this character calls himself. Who's going to be the best of the next bunch? Ivy did fall to the. Murray went to the Kings. Ivy went to the Pistons. And then we had Mathurin get drafted. Who's going to be the best of this next bunch?
Jaden Ivey,
without question.
Not question.
Okay, so we had Houston, OKC, then, or we had Orlando, OKC, then Houston. We had the Pistons, the Sacramento Kings, all top 5 in the lottery. Which one of these teams will be in the lottery next season?
Sacramento.
Agreed.
And they were 4, not 5, but yeah, Sacramento will be in the lottery next year.
That's it. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. Like I said, your Lakers, they got Lonnie. They signed in the first day of free agency. The Lakers got their big signee and Lonnie Walker Jr., the guy who went to Orlando, I believe, South Florida. Or excuse me, went to Miami before getting drafted by the San Antonio Spurs. So you guys getting a good player out of San Antonio. Yeah, so you're getting a good player. So let's take a quick break, Cleveland. When we come back, man, we're gonna jump into our NFL topics, man. NFL segment is kind of short, man. You want to speak through this, and then we can just close with our ending segment.
Let's speak with this.
Um, all right, Deshaun Johnson, man, or Deshaun Watson, excuse me. They're 3 days now. They've been in deliberations with the NFL. Probably going to hand down a hearing pretty soon. Is a year too much? Not enough? Just right.
If the over under is a year, I would take the under.
Okay, that makes sense.
Do I think it's enough? I mean, it depends on how you weigh the evidence in front of you. There's not a lot of visual evidence like there was in the last case that was very similar with regards to how heavy-handed the NFL was going to be with its punishment. So we don't have that aspect of it. With
Right.
regards to how they feel about the 66 people saying they feel uncomfortable or violated, well, that's up to them to decide. And their lawyers, or I'm sorry, Deshaun Watson's lawyers have done a very good job of saying, hey, none of these cases were even credible enough to be criminally prosecuted. And, you came up with a great percentage last week of how many of these cases have been solved, or I'm sorry, settled out of court. So that's what the defense is saying. With regards to how the league feels about it, I think the league is in a really good place right now because there are so many other things going on that something like I like masseuses and like solicit them on Instagram is not really that big of a thing in comparison to 24 of the 50 states deciding that abortion is illegal or some of the other things that are going on in the world. So I think his timing is good. I think the timing for kind of sweeping this under the rug for the NFL is good. Um, I heard Roger Goodell say earlier that he really has no uh, jurisdiction in how the Daniel Snyder thing is going to play out. So it's like, okay, well, if you don't have any power, but they're giving you $50 million a season
To
to
take all
be
the
the face of
shrapnel.
all this, it's
To
like,
take all the
okay,
shrapnel. To take all the
yeah.
shrapnel. That's why they.
So yeah, Deshaun, I feel it will be less than a year. If the over under is a year, it will be less.
All right. All right. So
I think somewhere between like 8 to 10 games.
Well, all right. I think. What did we say months ago? 8 games appealed down to 6, probably. So maybe if they do 10 games, appeal down to 8, something like that. He probably won't. He probably will miss half the season, but he will play half the season. That's what I suspect. You brought up Cleveland. Michelle, I guess I should have touched on this earlier, but that recent ruling, Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade, essentially making adoptions illegal. Do you agree with that or not? Can we not even don't answer that question? Can we agree that this should be a 100% a woman's choice, whether she wants to have an abortion or not?
Well, for starters, Cam, it's not adoptions illegal; it's abortions
Abortion. Excuse me. Thank you for
illegal. And I feel that the platform for which people are deciding this is extremely religious and political. I don't think it has a lot to do with um, the concern for women that are having to go through this, and a lot of times by themselves. And I don't see anything in what the Supreme Court was able to kind of go through that showed that in the last 50 years there had been an adverse effect to this happening. And quite honestly, it's been the polar opposite. You've seen the crime rates go down because women are not having children that they shouldn't be having. um, I've never been one to think or say that because of a law or a rule that women should have to adhere to certain
Requirements.
requirements at what they can and can't do with their own bodies. So, I
Yeah.
mean, to say that is absolutely crazy. And then to see the 24 states adopt in like a day after was just even more crazy. So, I'm going to a convention in a state in like 3 weeks. I'm like, wow, you guys are one of the first states to say like abortion is illegal. And it's,
Yeah,
again,
it's wild, man. It's wild. I didn't want to derail the show, but I thought I'd get your feeling, your feedback on that. I think it's 100% a woman's choice, and there's no way that I don't even know how this is like
a
the
thing, right? Like how
highest
did
court in the
you?
land is just deciding this. Like that's beyond me. The political side, the way this has been politicized and used and batted around for their own purpose and judges, it's like I don't get it. I don't understand how there's women on the Supreme Court who voted for it. So, nonetheless, I just want to get your feedback on that. And yeah, the Browns. Too bad they're not playing Sunday because that would have covered up a lot of this going into a Sunday game. So Deshaun Watson, like we both agree that he will be suspended. It's only a matter of time. 3 days with the NFL. I don't know what you're talking about. Um, but did you hear Jerry Judy? Jerry Judy, if you're not familiar with him, he's a receiver for the Denver Broncos. And fans, if I may back up and kind of catch you up, the Denver Broncos recently acquired um, former Super Bowl winning quarterback. Um, this particular quarterback had not missed a start in 9 years. Somebody would tell me adequately every season that this quarterback was an Iron Man of sorts. And of course, he got jinxed and then didn't have was kind of up and down that first year in Seattle. His second year, he was much better. Now this guy says, Jerry Judy says there will be a very explosive team with Russell Wilson as the quarterback. What do you think about what Jerry Judy has to say?
What do you mean?
I mean,
You already know what Russell Wilson brings to the table. He's a 9-time Pro Bowler, 9 consecutive
okay.
years. He never missed a start till last season. He brings that work ethic, that enthusiasm to the locker room, to the organization. It permeates through every wall and corridor, and Jerry Judy is on board.
That's good. So Jerry Judy can identify early what's going on, huh? I like that. I like that. Also, reading another article where it says um, Melvin Gordon and Williams is rated as the best running back duo going into this coming season, 2021 season, Cleveland. And I want you to get your thoughts on that.
I have no thoughts on that at this point, Cam. We'll have to see after training camp what it looks like.
I mean, was that not a top duo though?
It sounds formidable, on paper. I mean, we'll see how they.
According to the numbers, they had the number one running, not number one rushing attack. According to the numbers, they as a combination, they gained the most yards. The second team to gain the most yards. Let's see if you know who they are. The second team to gain the most yards as a duo. As a duo.
No, I don't know who that is, Cam. Were you trying to bait me some direction?
No,
Who was that?
no. I'm asking you a question. Do you know who that is?
And I said I don't know who was it.
Okay. All right. You don't want to take a guess at all?
Nope.
So if I tell you one of the guys was a quarterback, would you be willing to take a bet?
Nope. Who you got?
Oh, come on, man. You didn't even think about it.
Nope.
Kareem Hunt,
Who you got?
Kareem Hunt and Chubbs. I think that's a more
that's a very formidable backfield.
More affordable back.
The chubby guy and Kareem Hunt, yeah.
It's a more formidable.
Well, don't know where
backcourt
you're trying
team.
to go with that. Is I mean,
No, I'm asking a question. I was asking you to tell me. Do you know
okay, well,
who that second guy
something
was?
supposed to be taken from that statement, or
What?
I mean, what's
Who's
that
it?
mean to you? I mean,
It's a legit it's a trivia question actually.
okay, cool,
And you
nice.
can what's at the water cooler? And the second quarterback. I mean, excuse me. The second guy on the list, the second duo on the list to gain the most yards last season was a running back quarterback combo. Who might that have been?
That might have been, let's just say, for giggles and whatnot. We'll say Lamar Jackson and
It's a good guess.
the running back that played in Baltimore most of the snaps.
The running back that played in Baltimore. No, it's not. I mean, you was close. You were close in vicinity wise. It was Jalen Hurts and Sanders.
Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah, gaining most. Yeah, I think
yeah,
I
that's amazing, explosive sounding.
Hey, for real, they gained the most yards.
I know, I know, I know. If you're in Philadelphia, you're supremely confident in
I
that
don't
going
know.
into the next season.
I don't know about that.
Which means if you're not, that means the stat is meaningless. Which is I think what I was going with.
Well, oh, that's where you were going.
That's where I was going with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's going on in the Bird's Nest in Hawk Alley?
Man, we're getting ready for training camp. We'll be good. We'll see what happens.
Are they signing all the rookies? Are the rookies going to be ready to go?
Rookies are all signed in. Yeah, they're all signed up. They're all ready to go.
Okay, so let's take 5 here, man, and we can come back. We're going to end the show this week in history, and then we got some college football topics, man. Shake up in the college football world, Cleveland. Are you familiar with this?
I did hear some rumors, some innuendo. So yeah, we can touch on that.
Okay, let's take 5. Fans, what's good, man? You guys tell me what you guys think about these risky NBA trades. Like, which one really caught your eye? The DeJounte Murray I kind of don't understand it in a sense because although DeJounte Murray can take the ball out of young Trae Young's hands, I don't think Trae Young could play off the ball that well. I don't think that he can play off the ball like Klay Thompson. So in that aspect, I'm not a big fan of that particular trade. I see where they're going. I just don't think they're going to get that desired aspect out of that deal. We got Cleveland back. Cleveland, what do you think about that? Just reliving the DeJounte Murray to Atlanta trade. And I was just saying that I like DeJounte Murray. I don't know that trade. I understand what they're trying to do, but I don't think Trae Young is going to be able to plays off the ball and will be able to play off the ball like Steph Curry did. So where they have the Klay Thompson Steph Curry balance there. One guy defends the other team's better defender, and then leaving Trey Young to stay free to go run his laps on the floor, and then run around, get open for free shots. I mean, that's can you emulate that? Can you emulate that? That's an art form in itself. Like his quick release. I mean, that's an art form in itself. Him running around and finding open shots. And I don't think Trey Young has done that. Has he shown it in the league? He can do that to you.
He's certainly shown that he can do that to a certain extent, but just not to the
He shoot from the
but just
logo.
not to the extent that Steph Curry can do it. I mean, it's no one has been able to replicate the Splash Brothers. I mean, I understand what they were trying to do in other places, and it's lightweight successful. It's just not as successful as bringing a championship to an organization. So will this bring a championship to Atlanta? I don't think so. But will it bring them closer? Yeah, for sure. Closer than they were before they traded for DeJounte Murray. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, we'll see we'll see how it works out, man. Well, let's talk about some of the stuff that happened this week in history. Fans I know want to hear about this. 1926, June 29, Carter Woodson wins the Spring Guard Medal for his research in Black history. 1926. In 1978, June 28, Supreme Court handed down the Bakke decision affecting racial quotas in education and industry. Excuse me. July 2nd, 1777, Vermont became the first U.S. territory to abolish slavery. As we know, years later, it wasn't until they may abolish it, but who do they tell when they abolish it? It wasn't until years later, family found out visiting Texas and told the guys that we were free that they started celebrating Juneteenth. In 1970, Cleveland, Riverfront Stadium was opened in 1970. It has since been demolished, but Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati was created in 1970. From the outside of that building, it looked like Kingdom with no roof. That's exactly what the Cincinnati Riverfront Stadium looked like. Doc Rivers in 2008, June 17th, was the first black coach since Casey Jones to lead an NBA team to a championship. This kind of makes you think a little bit, huh?
Yeah, almost 25 years. Casey won his last one in 86, and then there was another African-American coach to win until 2008. So
for it to be a predominantly black league, that's just kind of a loud number, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you do the numbers real quick. It's Riley, Daly, Phil Jackson, Tom Janovich,
Pop,
Jackson,
Pop, don't leave Pop out.
Pop, Jackson again, Pop, Larry Brown, Pop, Jackson, and Doc.
Cleveland, this is going on for over 4 months, man. Brittany Griner being over there in Russia. We're about to go on trial. They're about to put her on trial in Russia. So I put a link. Go check out What's Good in Sport. What's Good in Sport on Twitter for the link to sign the petition. I signed the petition. Go ahead and sign the petition. You can see it once again at What's Good in Sport, or I'll tweet it out or reshare it on Voice of the Fans on Twitter, _ Voice of the Fans on Twitter. You want to sign the petition to free Brittany Griner. They're going to court now, so this is getting serious here, folks, if it wasn't already. Cleveland, the bombshell this afternoon after KD asked for the trade not too longer. UCLA says we went out of the Pac-12. Cleveland, how did this change life for football on the West Coast?
It changed it dramatically, Cam. I mean, it's
College football on the West Coast. I should
it,
say.
it's yeah. I mean, it's I've been trying to kind of wrap my head around it, and it's horrible. But I feel like they should have been in a better position before they made that move. They kind of made that move like they were some bosses in the Pac-12, but neither one of those teams have like won a Pac-12 title in forever. So it's kind of weird that they just take their, the two biggest markets. I mean, being, both of them being in Los Angeles and just moving it somewhere else, but not really based upon their performance and the lack of performance thereof of their predecessors. So that part is kind of weird.
So does that dissolve if, let's just say, USC, UCLA alone, without Stanford, without Washington, without Wazoo, Oregon, etc., if they went to join the Big 12, or what we formerly known as the Big, the real big conference, Pac-12 is done, right? You go back to being in Pac-8, or they might lose a team here and there. What, does it become Big Sky football? What do you think?
Well, I mean, there's still 10 teams. There's still Washington, Washington State, Oregon, Oregon State, Arizona, Arizona State, Stanford and Cal, Utah and Colorado. So you have 10. So now you have just two other teams that you may want to invite, depending on what their record may be or what their track record has been. Potentially, Boise State makes the jump. Potentially, Fresno State makes the jump. So, you kind of look at it that way. And again,
how competitive is that conference though? Well, you got Washington. I mean,
it's less competitive than if USC and UCLA is in the conference, but at the same time, like I just said, when is the last time USC or UCLA won a Pac-10 title or a national championship?
so
And
what are you saying? Good riddance. Last time your boy Pete was up
I
here.
didn't say that. I didn't say good riddance.
That's
What
what
I
it sounds
said
like. It sounds
was
like good riddance to me.
it appears kind of arrogant that they are projecting themselves as kind of like the face of the Pac-12, when in reality they haven't really won anything in quite some time, and they've been struggling to kind of get over that hump. So,
well, we'll see how things shake out, man. I don't know. Do you like the thoughts of bringing into Boise State? Do you like the thoughts of using them to replace Boise State?
I don't like those thoughts because it definitely diminishes the strength of the conference when you lose Los Angeles. I mean, that's just, to say anything different would just, not be the truth. I mean, you lose SC and UCLA. I mean, traditionally, what they've been able to do has been extraordinary, and potentially what they could do in the future, given them, the demographic that they draw from. Yeah, it's horrible.
Wow. Yeah, it's shocking. Do you see this as the beginning of the super conference in across America? Like, I think there should really be like a West, East and West, North and South conference with the.
So, I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of super conference and what that really contributes to the greater good of college football.
What does the super conference contribute?
Texas A&M, I mean, Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC. I mean, it just makes them all 3-loss teams, right? I mean, with UCLA and USC going to the Big Ten, I mean, Ohio State gets at least one more loss. Michigan gets at least one more loss. I mean, if they're all at the height of their powers, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's not. I mean, the benefit is always financial, of course, but for what you're going to see on the field and what these teams are going to be able to produce, I mean, it's not going to be significant, I don't think.
Well, this is a subject, man, we're going to have to keep a close eye on because, like I said, this can change the landscape of college football together as we know it. So, but it's huge. This is big, huge news that UCLA and USC reached out to the Big 10, Big 12, whatever they're calling themselves these days, and said we want to be a part of that pro or that conference. And that once they're allowed to be a part of that conference, they'll be able to go nationwide, coast to coast. They'll have that bragging right that the Big 10 conference will be able to say that we got schools that span coast to coast, conference is conference. So that's the reason you should pick us. Cleveland, the Colorado Avalanche, tied for 72 most wins this season, 16-4 in the playoffs. They clinched the Stanley Cup on the road the other night. What's your thoughts on the Stanley Cup and the Avalanche clinching?
Congratulations to the Avalanche. I mean, they were definitely the better team this series, and Tampa Bay, with all of their previous success, were able to make it happen this year. But kudos to them to getting back to the Stanley Cup final. But even more praise for the Colorado Avalanche for getting that Stanley Cup.
Cleveland, you're a big baseball fan. Did you hear what Clayton Kershaw, the message he had for the first baseman Freddie Freeman after they visited Atlanta?
No,
he said Freddie Freeman might even enjoy playing with the Dodgers. Well, once he gets his head around being on the team, that's what he said. Because apparently Freddie Freeman has been pouting of sorts, if you will, because he's homesick maybe. And then come to find out that Freddie Freeman, he fired his agent, right? Did you hear he fired his agent?
I did.
Okay, you hear why he fired his agent?
For the way he mishandled the Atlanta Braves negotiations.
Well, it wasn't much of a negotiation because he never showed. The Dodgers made their offer. The agent never showed Freddie Freeman the offer from the Braves. And so Freddie Freeman was just thinking the only offer he had was from the Dodgers, and he took that offer. But he would have stayed in Atlanta for less money. So that would cause some anger right there. And then shortly thereafter, Freddie Freeman fired his agent. What's your thoughts on that situation?
It's horrible that you put that much faith and trust in people to negotiate, contracts for hundreds of millions of dollars, and then you don't really get the say as the, player in the whole scenario as you might want. So, yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, it was a bad look for his agent, who's been obviously is being questioned now that there's a lawsuit out. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll bring that back to you, fans. Cleveland, Serena loses in the finals of first round of Wimbledon. Talk to us about Serena, and do you expect her to come back stronger?
Oh man, first match back in a year, on center court at Wimbledon, tournament that she's won numerous times. I thought that she played well at times. Wasn't able to kind of finish. She had, the match on her racket, so to speak, serving for the match, wasn't able to close that out. And then in the tiebreaker, went up 4-0 and wasn't able to close that out. So, I saw a lot of fatigue as the match kind of wore on. And
as you might imagine,
certainly Tan had a style that was not conventional. And so it's a little bit more difficult for her to deal with. But no, I don't think this is the last that we've seen of Serena. And certainly I would be shocked if she didn't play at the U.S. Open.
Oh, wow. Really? So this was a warm-up, or this just kind of gauge?
It wasn't a warm-up. It was just their first match in a year. So,
giving her a pass
obviously all matches are important, and you want to win every one. So it wasn't like an exhibition, by any means. It was just, playing a very skilled player very early in the tournament, and again, first match in a year. So don't read too much into it.
Okay.
It's just the beginning of the end, not necessarily. Does she want to do this a whole bunch more times? Probably not. So, these 6 months will be very telling.
Hmm. Um, the Mariners, man. The Mariners get punked by Mike Trout and the Angels. What's the
Hey,
deal?
man, no, we said we're not talking about the Mariners till they're 500. So we're not
Okay,
talking about
well,
it.
let's talk about Mike
Nope,
Trout. Let's talk about Mike
nope,
Trout. What do you know?
nope,
Mike Trout.
nope. Because all
Mike
you want to talk about is Mike Trout is in regards to how things went with the Mariners. And no,
I was
not
di-
doing it.
it wasn't just last week
Nope,
though. It wasn't
nope.
just. It just
Hey,
wasn't
man,
last
what's the
week.
premiere you went to see yesterday?
What's that?
Premiere?
The movie premiere was pretty cool. It was Big
What, what,
Wave,
what, what was the
Big
title of the
Wave,
movie you went to?
Big Wave Guardians, Big Wave
Was
Guardians.
Oh, okay.
It,
I'm sorry.
it, it,
I thought
it,
it was Nope. My bad. You went to a
uh,
different premiere. My bad.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
nope. I'm not talking about none of that fisticuffs with Mike
what?
Trout and how it all went down. I'm not talking about how that manager had a pitcher come in with the intent, with the
What
sole
do you
intent
mean?
to throw at
What,
people and got
what do
the
you
10-game
mean?
suspension. We're not talking about that.
We gotta. There's
And we also
in
said
baseball.
we didn't talk about the Seattle Mariners until they were 500, not 500 right now.
In baseball, so
So
you're
next
gonna.
week, fans, we'll have a lot to talk about with Mariners, and we might even touch base, slightly brush on this subject. But yeah, no, it wasn't right. Nothing about it was right.
That was funny. That was a good one. Um, that was a good one. If Trout just flat out dominates you guys, so we're gonna do now. He's salty. He didn't want to talk about that. He doesn't even want to touch on that right now. Um, but man, it's been a crazy show, man. It's been a crazy day with all these NBA trades that we're gonna have to stick up with. You got Jerry Judy sounding off, talking about how explosive the Broncos are gonna be. Cleveland's not excited about that. He don't want to touch on that.
I mean, that's great, but I mean, yeah, we have to see what happens, training camp and whatnot.
This Pac-12, Big 12 merger. I mean, college football is going to. It's not going to look the same. It's not going to look the same. Whether it's what's going to happen. So, is there going to be a CFB basketball tournament and a CFB football tournament? Are they going to be separate? Or are they going to be different?
Separate. I mean, the schools have different motivations for moving to a conference for different sports. I mean, that's painfully obvious.
So I don't know how this is gonna break down, man. This is weird how it's all gonna break down. What's gonna happen with Kyrie? What's gonna happen with KD? Man, there's a lot of questions out there. A lot of things still undecided. We can't just decide everything in one night, Cleveland. Nonetheless, man, I thank you for tuning in.
Zach LaVine being a Laker, we're not sure.
Oh boy, here you go. Here you go. You got the rumor mill. Who else the Lakers? Who else the Lakers want?
Damian Lillard, as he's we're not sure what's happening up there.
All right, fans. Thank you guys for tuning in. Cleveland, thank you for your participation. We hear this guy. He'll come up with all kind of stuff. He's been talking about this Dame Lillard to the Lakers for a year and a half now. And young Sam has been clairvoyant in this situation. So, fans, let's thank you guys for tuning in. Cleveland, thank you for your participation. Make sure you guys tune into the Voice of the Fans on @_Voice of the Fans on Twitter, @_Voice of the Fans on Twitter to participate with the show during the week. Cleveland, let the people know where they can find you.
It's @Clevie Wonder on Twitter and Cleveland Still on Instagram.
Once again, you hit me on Instagram at Voice of Fans, Voice of Fans. Hit me on Twitter for the show @_Voice of the Fans. Fans always want to thank you for being a part of the show, and as always, thank you for making our voice your choice.